I'm Rosie, and I've been married to Tom for 5 years. We met in college, and it always felt like we were meant to be together. Our days were simple: working, having dinner, and sharing quiet weekends. I worked as a marketing coordinator, a job I didn't love, but it paid the bills. Tom had a steady job too, and we had a routine that felt safe. We lived in a cozy house, with close friends who often visited. On the surface, everything seemed perfect. I thought I had everything I needed. But beneath the surface, I had a quiet sense of dissatisfaction. I didn't know what it was at first. Maybe just the weight of routine, but I brushed it aside. I didn't realize how fragile our life together really was until one choice shattered everything. The first cracks appeared when I met Daniel. He was a colleague at work, someone I saw every day but never thought much about. At first it was harmless, just casual conversations about projects, lunch breaks together, the occasional laugh. But over time, those small interactions began to mean more to me than I expected. Daniel was kind, attentive, and easy to talk to. Something I hadn't realized I was missing. There was a connection, one that felt effortless and real. A stark contrast to the routine that had settled into my marriage. I didn't want to admit it, but I could feel myself growing closer to him. I began to seek out his company, to look forward to our talks. And soon, I found myself thinking about him when I wasn't at work. It wasn't something I planned. I still loved Tom. How could I not? But I started questioning everything. Why was I feeling this way? What did this mean? My emotions were a tangled mess of guilt, confusion, and sadness. I was torn between the life I had with Tom and the strange pull I felt towards someone else. The doubt was suffocating, and I didn't know what to do with it. The more time I spent with Daniel, the more I began to question everything I thought I knew about myself. There were moments when I'd look at Tom sitting across from me at dinner and wonder how it had gotten to this point. He wasn't doing anything wrong. He was still the man I married, the man I once couldn't imagine living without. But I couldn't shake the feeling that something was missing, something I had only started to realize in the warmth of Daniel's attention. I tried to ignore it at first, telling myself I was just feeling restless, that this was just a phase. But every time I saw Daniel, I felt something stir inside me that I hadn't felt in a long time. His words seemed to reach a part of me that I thought was lost, a part of me I had buried beneath years of routine and responsibility. It felt like waking up from a dream, realizing how much of myself I had given away to keep up with the demands of life. At night I would lie in bed, staring at the ceiling, torn between two worlds. My mind would race. Should I talk to Tom? Should I confront him with the truth, even though I didn't fully understand it myself? Or should I pull away from Daniel, pretend it was just a fleeting moment and nothing more? The guilt weighed heavily on me, suffocating me in my own thoughts. I couldn't stop thinking about how this was all so unfair. Tom deserved better, but so did I. Didn't I? I thought back to the dreams we once had. Tom and me, building a future together, the family we always talked about, the life we were supposed to grow old in. Those memories were still so vivid, so full of hope and promise. But now, they felt like a lie. How could I have ever believed in that perfection when I was so far from it now? I spent my days in a haze, going through the motions, pretending everything was okay. My interactions with Tom felt distant, mechanical, like we were two people playing a part in a story that wasn't ours anymore. I wasn't sure if I was losing him, losing myself, or both, and the worst part was, I couldn't figure out how to stop it. The turning point came one evening when Tom asked me a simple question, one that I should have known was coming. We were sitting on the couch, the quiet hum of the TV filling the space between us. He turned to me, his eyes searching as if he could sense something was off. "Rosie," he said softly, "are you happy?" It wasn't the question itself that hit me so hard, but the way he asked it, like he already knew the answer. The weight of it crushed me. I had been avoiding the truth for so long, lying to both him and myself, hoping the cracks in our relationship would just disappear. But here it was, laid bare. This raw moment of vulnerability. I felt the tension in my chest, the choice staring me down like a cold, unyielding force. I could feel my heart racing, my mind screaming at me to do something, to tell him the truth, to confess everything, to risk the fragile foundation of our marriage. But the fear gripped me. What if telling him would destroy everything? What if it couldn't be fixed? The silence stretched between us, and I knew I couldn't keep pretending. My mind flicked to Daniel. His easy smile, the way he made me feel seen and heard. But I knew, deep down, that I couldn't escape the truth of my life. Tom was my husband. He deserved honesty, not betrayal. "I don't know," I said, my voice trembling. I couldn't lie anymore, but I couldn't fully face the reality either. It was as if the moment I spoke those words, I admitted to myself that I had lost something I couldn't get back. I wasn't sure where to go from here. I saw the hurt in Tom's eyes, but he didn't push. He didn't demand more. He just looked at me, waiting. In that moment, I realized I had already made a choice, even if it wasn't the clear one. It wasn't about being with Daniel or staying with Tom. It was about me, what I was willing to face within myself, what kind of person I wanted to be. I had to stop running from the truth, even if it meant stepping into the unknown. It was terrifying, but it was the only way forward. In the weeks that followed, things didn't magically fix themselves. Tom and I didn't have some grand, tear-riddled conversation that made everything better. The truth hung between us like an unspoken promise, one that neither of us could fully ignore. But slowly, we began to talk. Not just about the affair, but about what was missing in our lives, what we had stopped sharing, what we had stopped seeing in each other. It wasn't easy. There were moments of silence, moments of anger, and a lot of hard conversations. But what I hadn't expected was how much it allowed me to confront myself, to face the parts of me that had been neglected. I realized that I had been seeking validation, comfort, and excitement from someone else, because I didn't know how to find those things within myself. I had stopped caring for me in the way I cared for others, and that left me empty. I began to understand that I couldn't expect Tom to fill all the voids I had inside me. I had to learn how to be whole on my own. It was a painful lesson, but one that I knew I needed to learn. Daniel wasn't a part of my life anymore, and while I sometimes missed the connection we had, I knew it was never about him. It was about me. It was about finding the strength to face my own unhappiness and make the choice to change, rather than running from it. There was no perfect resolution. Tom and I didn't instantly become the couple we once were. But we were working through it, and for the first time in a long while, I felt like I was working on myself. The road ahead was uncertain, but I wasn't afraid anymore. I had learned to be kinder to myself, to forgive myself, and to embrace the messy, beautiful process of growth. And, for the first time in a long time, I felt like I was finally starting to understand what it meant to love myself. The rest would come when it was ready. If there's one thing I've learned from this journey, it's that we can't always control what happens in our relationships or our lives, but we can control how we respond to them. Sometimes we find ourselves lost or confused, seeking answers outside of ourselves, but the truth is that real healing begins within. It's easy to forget the importance of self-care and self-love when life feels overwhelming. But those things aren't just nice to have. They're necessary for us to grow and move forward. We're all human and we all make mistakes. But those mistakes don't define us. What matters is how we choose to learn from them, how we choose to heal, and how we choose to treat ourselves with kindness and understanding. It's not always easy, but finding peace with ourselves is the first step toward building healthier, more fulfilling relationships with others. No matter where you are on your journey, remember that it's okay to feel uncertain, and it's okay to not have all the answers. What's important is that you keep moving forward, one step at a time, with compassion for yourself and the courage to face what lies ahead. If you found this story meaningful, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more.